Hi everybody, welcome back to The Life's Good, and what a glorious afternoon it is. It's a lovely sunny Sunday afternoon here in the northeast of England, and just in case you were wondering what this is all about, I was just thinking of my daughter in America. Excuse me a moment, because Cheryl's just joined us.
And brought your cup of tea out.
She's brought out a cup of tea for me. Bless her. She's my little rainbow warrior at the moment.
Yeah.
And working very hard in the hospital.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, we're both caught up in this recent shenanigans. However, it's Sunday afternoon, as I said. It's a lovely sunny day, and we're enjoying a few moments, peace and quiet, in our garden. And thank you for my tea, sweetheart.
Oh, you're very welcome, darling.
Are you joining us this
No,
afternoon?
I'm doing me ironing.
Ironing. That's important.
Sorry.
That's important. Nearly knocked me off the deck in there, guys. Where were we? Yes. What was this all about? Wolverines, Michigan. My daughter lives in Royal Oak, north of Detroit. And I was just thinking of her this morning whilst I was out here, and her husband Anthony, and his parents David and Judy. And they're all struggling a bit, the same as we are in these difficult times. And I was just reminiscing and thinking of the times when we visited there. And I thought I'd wear the shirt in honour, and just to show I'm thinking of them all. And indeed, the hat as well. I have been to the big house. I have seen the Wolverines play, and what a fantastic atmosphere that was. Well, we're not here to talk about American football, or indeed America at all, really. Although I just thought I'd mention my family over there. New subscribers, thank you very much. I've had several new subscribers in the last couple of days. I can't think of all the names off the top of my head, but welcome aboard. Thank you for subscribing, and let's hope you can gain something of interest and enjoyment from my videos. Right, now I was going to give you a quick tour, show you what I've been up to, and then I'm going to pop in the greenhouse and have a go at growing that ginger. If you remember, I bought a ginger root to grow, so I'm going to nip in the greenhouse, do something a little bit different, and try and plant that ginger rhizome. So let's go down on the plot and I'll show you what I've been up to. Well, this might be a bit clumsy, guys, but I've got my tea in my left hand and I've got you in my right, so bear with me as we take a little wander down here. Now, you'll have to excuse the laundry. It's the only day we've had chance to catch up with our laundry, as we both work during the week. So we've had that hanging out this morning, but it doesn't take long to dry, and it always smells fresher when it's been outside. Now I've get to a position where I can just turn around. I'll just put my tea there on Daisy's coop, and I'll try and swing you around and look at this area here. Now, tubs on the floor contain potatoes. If you watched the last video, I was planting potatoes in tubs, and I've got some on the side that little garden there, what I've referred to now as my salad bed. Tubs alongside the salad bed, and I've got a few tubs and indeed the shopping bag planter next to the greenhouse there. And you will see I've lifted out some seed trays with got radish and chard and lettuce there, and spring onions. I brought those out just to let them harden off a little bit, because I do want to start putting these out in this plot at some point soon. Looking back over the plot, I've put a couple of potato tubs out there just at the end of those little pathways, and indeed one at the end of that pathway there, the larger one. Oh, and whilst we're in that area, I'll just show you, I've actually changed the door on the front of the fruit cage. I've made this little wooden frame and put the netting on that, rather than just leave the netting hanging loose. And this little door opens quite nicely to allow us access into the fruit cage. So that's a little job I finished off yesterday. I'm quite pleased with. And the rest of the plot looking neat and tidy. And I'll tell you what, guys, we have not had rain of any significant amount for quite some considerable time. And I have been out here watering quite frequently, which I wouldn't ordinarily expect to do in April. We normally get quite some wet weather, sort of March, April time. But indeed, as I said, we have not had much rain for several weeks. So that may be cause for concern later in the season. But as long as I've got my water butts, I've got one next to the greenhouse there. There's another one up in the corner of the garden there, behind all that old timber that I've got stacked up. I've got 2 water butts collecting rainwater, which I use. And we do have an outside tap if I need it. But yeah, no rain for quite a while, so I'll keep an eye on that, and I'll keep you updated to see what's going on, because if that's the case, we could be having a sort of a drought type season. We'll see. Now I'll swing you back around, look in the greenhouse. You can see everything in here is just as it was, and in fact growing prolifically. So I've planted a few more things as well since you were last here, guys. I've planted some tomatoes. I've just got 3 little tomato plants here. These are my Elsa Craig. Some more cress and mustard there. The little pots of herbs. I've got basil, and I've got parsley and coriander. And in that order, the basil is just germinating. The parsley is a little bit further ahead, and the coriander seems to be romping away all of a sudden, which is quite good. And that's my mixed lettuce leaves behind there. And I'm going to have a look at sowing this ginger. If you remember, I bought a ginger rhizome. I think it's a rhizome. And I paid £2 for this. I had tried growing some ginger that we had started germinating in the kitchen, but it wasn't very successful, and it rotted. So I thought the best way to do this now is going to be to purchase a proper rhizome that on the back, is it on the back? Yes, it does say, oops, drop that, guys, right on the bottom there, there's a little note that says these sets are for planting only and are not sold for eating. So this is not for consumption, it is for growing. And I've got a little bag here with some sawdust chippings in there, some wood chippings, and in there is the rhizome. So I'll set you up on the tripod and show you what I'm doing with that. Okay, so planting up the ginger root. I had to do a little bit of research on this, guys, because I've never done this properly before. As I said, I tried once and it was a failure. I purchased this ginger rhizome, £2 in a local bargain supermarket, and I read the little bit of information on the back of here. Didn't give me too much information on this. It does say soil requirement, well drained soil, plenty of organic matter, spacings 3 inches apart. There's only one rhizome, so I don't have to worry about spacing. It will put up with partial shade. Depth, according to this little chart on here, I don't know if you can see that. It's very vague, some of this information, guys, but according to that, it should be planted at a depth of about 5 centimetres. I wasn't entirely certain what they were trying to tell me here, so I did a little bit of research. I've looked on YouTube, I've checked the World Wide Web, and I've done a bit of reading. And the ginger does grow near the surface of the soil. It throws up nice tall stems with some wonderful foliage, and the rhizomes spread on the surface. They don't put down lots of deep roots. They don't go very deep in the ground. I looked at this one. As I said, it came in this little bag with some sawdust chippings in. That can be discarded. The chippings, actually, if you're not going to use them straight away for anything in particular, put them in your compost bin. Don't throw them away. Be careful what you do with the plastic bag. But the chippings can go in your compost. That's one thing. There's a small rhizome in that packet, and this is the very one. And apparently, when you look on here, there are these little nodules. There's one there, there's one there, there's another one there, and turning it over, there's a couple on here and on the tip of there. Those nodules are where the growth comes from, apparently. So when you plant it, you want to plant it bearing in mind that the growth from there needs to grow up. So if you're planting it facing down and all the nodules are facing down, it probably won't grow very well. So you need to look at it and work out where the growth nodules are and where they're facing. Now on this particular one, they're all coming out on the sides. That one and all around here, all coming out. There's nothing underneath there. So this particular rhizome I will plant flat like that, and because it doesn't need a deep pot but it will spread on the surface, I've chosen to use this particular pot. It's a plastic pot that you can grow all manner of things in. It's not particularly deep, but deep enough, and it's got a wide surface area, so this little thing can put on extra growth, new rhizomes on the surface of this pot. So preparing the pot, I need to put my compost in. I've got my little workstation here, which I find very handy. I've got some compost here, and what I'm going to do is just whack the compost in there, break up any large lumps. There's a couple of lumps there, you see, guys. And I've gone or filled it as far as the little rim that's showing on here, just smoothing it and flattening it down. Now I'm tapping it down a bit just to compress it, but you don't want it rock hard, just press it down a bit firm. Now, so there's my soil in my little flat pot there, and the rhizome, the ginger rhizome, just double checking, make sure I get it right way up again, guys. It's just a case of pressing it into the surface of that soil there, and then a light covering. So it's in the surface, a bit more compost over the top, and that apparently is all there is to it, guys. So we've planted the ginger. I have prepared a little label, as you can see, plastic label, written in pencil, ginger. I'll put the date on the back, 19th of April today, I believe. Halfway through April, I can't believe it. Where's the year gone? Just doesn't seem like yesterday it was January and we were looking forward to spring. And here we are in the middle of April already, guys, honestly. Time is racing away. Right, 19th of the 4th, 20, English format, 19th of April 2020, ginger. Pop that in there. Now this will need a little water. I shall give it a little watering. In fact, I'll probably use one of my bottles. This is a very large washing up liquid bottle, and I just use that for dribbling some water on some of these pots and containers when I'm working in the greenhouse. You don't need lashings of water, so you don't need a huge watering can. And all I've done is just give that a gentle watering. And that, guys, is it. I'm hoping now that we have some success with this. Now, ginger is not a European plant. It's, I believe it's Asian or thereabouts. And it likes a warm atmosphere, likes warm weather. So I will probably keep this in the greenhouse just to make sure it stays comfortable and warm. I would not leave this outside unless it's a hot summer weather. You could keep it indoors, I guess. As I said, I've not grown ginger properly before. This is by way of an experiment for me. But I think, looking at the back of this, it doesn't say much. It says ginger is a tropical plant that does not survive frost, so plant after the last spring frost. So I'm assuming what they're saying is it will grow outside, providing it's a frost-free atmosphere. So be cautious where you put it, be cautious where you leave it. I, for one, am going to keep mine in my greenhouse. As far as the greenhouse is concerned, I've been keeping an eye on temperatures here because we did have a couple of really cold nights last week, guys. The weather's been a bit odd. Now we are March, April in England, we would expect quite a bit of rainfall. We haven't had much rainfall for weeks. In fact, I'm finding it hard to remember the last day when we had any significant rain. We've had some really cold nights. Now, I have used the paraffin heater a couple of nights when it was really chilly. I haven't set or reset my maximum minimum thermometer for a couple of days. The warmest it's been in here in the last few days is 25 Celsius. Now that is 78 Fahrenheit inside the greenhouse. The coldest it's been is 2 degrees centigrade. Bearing in mind I had the paraffin heater on, so I lit the paraffin heater. The temperatures outside got down to -3 and -4 Celsius a couple of nights. So it's got pretty chilly outside. It's only gotten down to 2 in the greenhouse. So in Fahrenheit that's 35. So the coldest it's been during the last week or so in the greenhouse is 35 Fahrenheit, for the benefit of my American friends and family, indeed. So just to recap, it's been up to 25 Celsius, it's been down to 2, up to 78, down to 35. No rain, so maybe the no rainfall is cause for concern. Now the opposite end of the country, we're in the northeast of England, and at the lower end of England, the southern area, they have had some heavy storms. They had some heavy thunderstorms and lots of rain. We haven't seen any. There seems to be a divide across the middle of the country, where the northern area has not had rain. The southern area has probably had more than its fair share. Interesting. I'll keep an eye on it. So there's a ginger planted, guys. Nice one to do. I've got 1 or 2 other things to do in here this afternoon. I just want to have a tidy up, and I am getting to the point where I'm going to need to go in and get clean and prepare supper for the lovely Cheryl and myself. And I think we're having a piece of lamb tonight and some of our own vegetables that we've got in the freezer. I know we've got some parsnip, we've got some bean, and goodness knows what else, but we will be having a lovely roast lamb dinner later this afternoon and relaxing before we get back to work tomorrow. So from me and Cheryl, you take care of yourselves, be safe and be happy. Come back and see us soon. Don't forget to hit that red button, hit that red subscribe button, subscribe to my channel, and if you like, hit the bell, then you will be informed of all my new video updates. And from us in England, to everyone that watches this channel and everyone across the world, and in particular my family in America and friends in America, come back and see us soon. Bye bye now.